Hello everyone, welcome to my channel LearnIT. Today I am going to start on scripting part of ServiceNow as this will be useful for performing any kind of automation or validation. I will give you an overview how we can script in ServiceNow. We can use scripts to extend our instance beyond standard configurations. With scripts, we can automate process, add functionality, integrate our instance with an outside application, and more. ServiceNow generally uses JavaScript as their scripting language. So let's move further and see what is scripting. So what is ServiceNow scripting? So ServiceNow scripting allows complex configurations and behaviors via JavaScript. As you can see, the script screenshot is visible here. So however, when making changes to our instance, we can use condition builder wherever possible to straightforward configure conditions and actions. Suppose when to run state is closed or cancelled, we can set active as false. Okay, so this is the condition builder feature. This is used when we doesn't use scripting as part of our configuration change. So let's move further. Why we should not use script? ServiceNow is continually evolving. What you scripted in the past might not be scripted now. It is easier to debug and fix configuration changes after upgrade. Make sure a script is really needed. How business critical is the requirement? Will an access control perform what you need instead? Can you achieve at least 80% of your requirements via configuration changes instead of scripting? Consider ways of customizing without scripting. This is really very necessary in ServiceNow to increase your performance when we are working on any project. So let's move further and see when we can use our script. When we are adding new functionality, existing functionality we are extending, guide users through messaging, automate process, interact with third-party applications. So these are the various places where we can use script to add the functionalities. So let's move further and see where our script execute. So it execute at client side where auto population a field based on value of another field happens or show or hide form sections. Server side modify a database record, trigger a flow or workflow on a mid server, integrate to a third party application. As you can see, there are client script, UI policy, catalog scripting is defined in separate color, and these are defined in separate color. Business rules, glide system, glide record, script includes flow designer. This is because why these three execute on client side and these are all executing on server side. Okay, as you can see, client side will run on browser, server side will run on database, mid server is also is running on database side. Okay, so let's move further and see how we can script in ServiceNow. So syntax editor is provided in ServiceNow, that is built-in text editor. As you can see here, we can see the feature how we can script it, like we can automatic JavaScript syntax coloring, auto indentation, line numbers, and creation of closing braces and quotes. As you can see, line number and coloring is done on scripting part. Okay, context sensitive help, code editing functions, editor macros for typing commonly used code, syntax error checking is there. Okay, so this is the editor where we write our script in ServiceNow. Okay, so let's move further and see how syntax coloring happens as part of our code. As you can see, the color coding is applied to the script for reading purpose. Suppose green is available for comments, purple is for reserved words, blue is for function or variable names or strings, bold plus italics is it means context menu item like sys user gr member. So this is bold plus italics. So we can see how this context menu item also shows as part why it happens this way, and these are coloring shows very visualized form of a script where we can see our script very properly. As you can see here, proper coding is done here, and proper commenting has been added, like create a member group, close, and these all things are mentioned as part of these functions. So let's move further and see syntax editor for braces and quotes. As you can see, if closing parentheses, braces and quotes automatically inserted as you type. Okay, so as you type, this whole section is created by default. Okay, closing parentheses. And same way, the matching character is highlighted when the cursor is beside a parenthesis, brace or quote. Like in other editor where we code in Java, there also this feature is available for braces and quotes. Same way it happens like we used to do in another editor like Eclipse or NetBeans. So it is same way we can do the scripting. So syntax editor context sensitive. So it will display a valid elements at cursor's current position. List method for a class. List expected parameters. As you can see, we start typing like G underscore. You will get multiple options like what to use. G underscore form, G underscore list, G underscore navigation, G underscore user, get message, SP util glide ajax, glide dialog window, glide record. So we are getting these kind of functions at the beginning of line. We can use control plus space bar at the beginning of a line, so you can get some suggestions like what to use and where to start our script. So it will list method for a class also. Suppose we are typing gform dot, so you will get what type of methods we can use for that particular class. Suppose add info message, add error message, add decoration. Okay, so these kind of stuff we can utilize by using gform dot. You will find different methods for that particular class. So open parenthesis after a valid class name. So suppose we have selected a valid method for a class, then automatic this parenthesis will be generated, because we have to define for which field name we have to make it as a decorated, or we can add as message for this. And these parameters will be displayed this way so that we can use it very frequently, like what parameters we have to pass. This will be clearly notified to our user while we are writing a script. Okay, so let's move further and see there are more context sensitive things like properties assigned to a locally declared object are also included in the list of suggestions. As you can see, my object is created as part of some array is generated inside this my object function, and you can see this object functions suggestions is displayed here. So my object dot my string, my array, my integer, it is displayed here. So this way also we can use our declared object which is declared locally. Okay, so let's move further and see context menu. Previously I showed you there is a new glide records is user underscore gr member. So there is three options where we can see the definition of this particular table. We can show how much data is present on this table, and as well as we can find the reference, so like what all script is added as part of this table. So we can find all the active files with the reference with the token API or table. Okay, so it is mentioned like context menu allows user to navigate to script include definition, glide API documentation and system and custom table definitions and data. So next slide I will show you how this works when clicking on find reference. As you can see, this is referencing to multiple script like about changes on group, assignment group utils, cab meeting SNC. So these are all script include business rule which is referenced to this particular table. And as well as we can click here and open our file like what script is written on back end of this particular script. So we can preview our script as well. So this is really very interesting when we are doing any script in ServiceNow, so that it eases developers life in working on any project as part of customization or validation things. Okay, so let's move further and see what are all the editing functions in syntax editor toolbar. So syntax editor toolbar provides standard JavaScript code editing functions suppose we can toggle the syntax editor on and off, comment uncomment selected code, code formatting, replace all functionality, search functionality, find next, find previous, display full screen editing mode, keyboard shortcut help screen, save, syntax error checking, script debugger. So we have all these standard editing functions for particular script in ServiceNow. So this will be really helpful for us to write a script on any table. And as well as we can see there is a icon to see keyboard shortcut, how we can use this as part of shortcut. Okay, so let's move further and see how we can enable or disable this syntax editor for the users while developing. So the syntax editor can be disabled by the users preferring to develop in a basic text field. When disabled, a go to line button appears in the toolbar. So we can see this is the current syntax editor which is enabled already, and here we can see the syntax editor is disabled, so this line number is disabled and editor functionalities has been disabled. Okay, so this generally people doesn't use because this will not show proper highlighting of error whether you have committed any error. We can see properly on our syntax editor when it is enabled, because it instantly verifies whether we have written a correct line of code or not. Okay, so by enabling syntax editor only we should do generally script. Okay, so let's move further and see how we can comment or uncomment our code inside a syntax editor. So we can select the code to be made inactive. Suppose this code is selected, and we can just select toggle comment here. So this is the toggle comments button where we can click, and as soon as we click on this button, so these two lines are commented. Okay, the result is like color is changed, like when commenting the color of that particular code of lines becomes different. Okay, so you can see purple color, blue color, and this green color is highlighted. So these are all the way of writing a script or commenting any line or uncomment any line in ServiceNow. Okay, so let's move further and see how we can format our code inside ServiceNow. So suppose this is the script which is written, but it is not in a proper format. So how we can do it in a proper format? So there is a button here. So this is a format code button where your script will be formatted. As you can see, this script is changed to this. So this is really looking good now as compared to this one. Okay, so we should generally use our format code button frequently on our lines of code. If suppose we have written more than 10 or 20 lines of code, so definitely it is required to do our code in a format way, because it will be in a readable mode for any person who would be approaching this script. Okay, so let's move further and see what replace all does is like replace a string with another string. Replace means replace all doesn't ask for confirmation, it will replace all the text. Okay, suppose we are finding any text with the g underscore form, and we are finding and replacing it with another tag. So this way we can replace our tags instead of any other tag. So this is the way we can do to replace all features in ServiceNow. Syntax editor search functionality. We can search for any script inside this particular scripting section, like we can search for string g underscore form or regular expressions. Like here I have searched for g underscore form, so it is highlighted in yellow. So if we have clicked on g underscore form, and we can see this is fine. This we have found 1 2 3 4 5 places we have found g underscore form, right? So this way we can search our any text inside this particular script. Okay, so let's see full screen editing. So if suppose we have lesser script to write, then it is fine. If suppose we have more than 30-40 lines of code, then we can make our editor in a full screen mode. As you can see, this is the hidden when scripting in full screen mode. We can click on this button and toggle to full screen view. Okay, so you can see the view this way. 33 lines is currently showing, but it depends on your screen how big screen is yours. Okay, here you will be visible like more, around 10 lines of code, but here you can see more than 30-40 lines of code you can see here. So this way we can edit our code in a full screen view. Okay, so let's move further and see what is syntax error checking. So syntax is automatically checked as you type. Red circles and red underlines, they indicate errors. Orange circles and yellow underlines indicate warnings. Okay, so we can see there is a error here, parsing error of our script, and here also we can see there is a error. So we can hover over the error and we can see the error or warnings for more details. So error message appears below the field when a save is attempted on a server side script with errors. So you can see could not save a record because of a compiler error, JavaScript error at line 6. So this is error at line 6. So you have to fix, then we can save this record for this scripting. Okay, so this is a syntax error checking which happens in ServiceNow syntax editor. Okay, so let's move further and see what are all JavaScript APIs in ServiceNow used as part of ServiceNow JavaScript. So we can provide JavaScript classes and methods that can be used in script to define the functionality of the platform. So these are all client side classes, server side classes. We can see a glide ajax, glide form, glide list, glide record, glide user, SP model. And in server side class, we can see glide aggregate, glide datetime, glide element, glide record, glide query, glide system, JSON, workflow, and many more. Okay, I will let you know as soon as we move further on our sessions what are all client side or server side classes and how we can use them in our scripts. Okay, so let's move further. JavaScript in ServiceNow API documentation. API section of ServiceNow developer site is the place to go for official API documentation, as you can redirect from server scoped support for a scoped application. These APIs may behave differently in global scope. Server global support for legacy application in the global scope. So here we can redirect and see how we can code our script in scoped or global side or client side or REST APIs are visible. Okay, and as well as we can see how we can properly do our scripts on various sites in ServiceNow. So JavaScript mode. So to support existing script and new script developed to a ECMA script 5 standard, the JavaScript engine has two modes, compatibility mode and ECMAScript 5 standards mode. As you can see, it is set in the application record. JavaScript mode is set, ESS standard mode, ES5, sorry, compatibility mode. Okay, so compatibility mode generally allows you to write a JavaScript code more frequently with less errors. But ECMAScript 5 standards allow to use a certain JavaScript functions which is provided by using JavaScript. Okay, and ES5 standards is generally very good for us to use in ServiceNow. Okay, so scripting resource, we can get help from resources like Now Community, ServiceNow user groups, product documentation, developer documentation, Now Learning. And JavaScript resources we can find on w3schools.com, codecademy.com, codeschool.com, developer.mozilla.org, and en under JavaScript. And we can find JavaScript through different sources as well. So it depends how you want to learn JavaScript as part of ServiceNow scripting. Just you want to learn JavaScript as a basic to start scripting on ServiceNow. Okay, so for more information please get into my video description. Please provide your comment if you have any question, doubts or queries related to this session. Thanks for hearing me out. Stay tuned for more videos. Please do like, share and subscribe to my channel LearnIT.